Hello everyone and welcome to another short video on our own devices. I'm Jean Messier and today we're having a look at an object that I've actually covered twice before on this channel. The first time in one of my very earliest videos, which unfortunately had very poor video and sound quality, and the second time in one of my now defunct grab bag format videos, both of which I have since deleted. So hopefully third time is the charm and this will be my final and most definitive video on the subject. Anyway, what I have here is a US $1 bill, specifically a silver certificate printed in 1935. Now, silver certificates were issued between 1878 and 1964, and until 1968 were directly redeemable for silver dollar coins or silver bullion. However, since 1968, they've been redeemable only for Federal Reserve notes, which are fiat currency that are not tied to any precious metals like gold or silver, but rather financial assets like Treasury and mortgage agency securities held by Federal Reserve banks. But that's not what makes this particular bill interesting. See, if we look more closely, you can see the word Hawaii printed in small block letters on one side and large hollow letters on the other. This is what is known as a Hawaii Overprint bill, and these were issued shortly after the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, in anticipation of a Japanese invasion of the Hawaiian Islands. The idea being that the US Treasury could declare all currency on the Hawaiian Islands worthless, denying its use to the Japanese. On January 10, 1942, Lieutenant General Delos Emmons, the military governor of Hawaii, issued the so-called money order, recalling all currency in circulation on the islands and setting caps on the total currency residents could possess at any time, $200 for individuals and $500 for businesses. 6 months later, on June 25th, the US Treasury began issuing overprinted bills, and residents of Hawaii were required to trade in their existing currency for overprinting bills by July 15th, though this was later extended to August 15th, after which overprinted bills were the only legal tender across the Hawaiian Islands, and violation of the money order could be punished by either a fine of up to $5,000 or up to 5 years in prison. 4 different denominations of overprinted bills were issued: 1935A series $1 silver certificates like this one, and 1934 and 1934A series $5, $10, and $20 Federal Reserve notes printed by the San Francisco Federal Reserve Bank. In total, 661,380,000 Hawaii overprint bills were issued throughout the Second World War, totaling $411,292,000, $35,052,000 $1 bills, $9,416,000 $5 bills, $10,424,000 $10 bills, and $11,246,000 $20 bills. In addition to the Hawaii overprints, another distinctive feature of these bills is this brown Treasury seal. They also all bear the signatures of Treasurer William A. Julian and Treasury Secretary Henry Morgenthau, Jr. Now, of course, the feared Japanese invasion of Hawaii never took place, and the monetary restrictions were finally lifted on October 21st, 1944. And in April 1946, the government started recalling the overprinted bills, collecting around $200 million worth. But rather than go through the hassle of shipping them back to the mainland, they opted to simply incinerate them. At first, they tried using the crematorium at Nuuanu Mortuary, but when this couldn't keep up with the sheer volume of bills, they commandeered the furnace at the Aiea sugar mill to finish the job. Still, over $200 million in overprinted notes remained in circulation, and while the 1942 money order technically made it illegal to transport them off the Hawaiian Islands, many nonetheless made their way to other Pacific islands that had been captured and occupied by US forces, where they were used to pay the salaries of service personnel. As a result, many were kept as souvenirs and made their way to the mainland, where they are still readily available on the collector's market. $1 silver certificates like this one are the most common and go for around $15 each, whereas the $5 Federal Reserve notes are the rarest and can command prices of up to $1,300, depending on condition. Thousands of star notes, replacements for damaged or defective bills indicated by an asterisk, were also printed, and these command even higher prices. However, well-used examples like this one aren't really worth that much numismatically, since collectors typically seek out only the crispest bills. So if you happen to have one of these and you're not really interested in its historic value, I guess you could just spend it, because technically these are still legal tender. Now, I find artifacts like these particularly fascinating because they demonstrate how, in a state of total war, even the most innocuous everyday objects can be turned into weapons. Indeed, early in the Second World War, the Sicherheitsdienst, the SS security service, cooked up a plan called Operation Bernhard, a scheme to drop thousands of forged pound banknotes over the British Isles to collapse the British wartime economy. Thankfully, the scheme was never carried out, and most of those forged notes ended up at the bottom of Lake Toplitz in Austria, though that is a whole fascinating story far beyond the scope of this video, though I will definitely write a video about it for Today I Found Out. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time in another video where I'll look at yet more fascinating artifacts just like this one. Until then, I'm Jean Messier from Our Own Devices. Have a great day.